So anybody want to guess why we use thermal imaging?
Cold spots.
Cold spots. Thank you. I think I heard that 3 times. Good job, everybody. Normally I get the word heat.
I just said heat on the roll.
Normally everybody says heat off the top of their head. So I'm red, orange, and yellow in that screen, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tom, you and I are the only gentlemen. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. We got Martin over there in the corner. You're hiding. Sorry. I was going to say I can use my line that I'm the hottest thing in the whole screen right now, ladies. So, but with that being said, everything around me should be blue and black. That means it's the coldest thing in the screen. If you take me out of it and put the leaves in there, it's going to fluctuate based on whatever's inside that screen. So, with that being said, we're looking for those blue spots to start moving on their own. So we want blue and black to start moving. So this is going to record for you. It's already recording, and you're going to get this recording back with your data in the morning. It also records audio. The funny thing is I normally hand this off to the skeptics so we get their commentary all night, but none of you are skeptics. So we're going to hand this off to Tom. So you're going to hold that horizontal all night long, the orange-red button on there. That means that it's recording. If it turns to a circle, just let me know.
Okay.
You're literally just going to be a cameraman all night. I also chose him because he's the tallest.
Yeah.
So that way we get a nice clear view all night long.
I heard spirit box.
What's that?
I heard spirit box.
I have several spirit boxes.
I like one.
Listen, they're demanding pieces now.
Is that an app we can download?
What's that?
Your heat.
No. Reason that is actually a FLIR camera used by firemen, mechanics, and plumbers. I tried some of the apps. They're bogus. They don't do much for me.
Okay.
This is the real deal. Like, it gives us temperature. There's crosshairs on there so we can gauge temperatures and so forth and so on.
So that's commercially available.
Yes.
Okay.
It's called a FLIR thermal imaging camera. So here's what I'll tell you about the top of your data page. All of the questions you already have in your head, they're already answered at the top of that page. I have a podcast. It's at the top of the page. All of the devices and apps that I will use tonight, they're at the top of the page. Where to leave reviews for me are at the top of the page. Where to find my books at the top of the page. So again, I try to answer all of those questions ahead of time. I appreciate you jumping in on, like, we're going to get one of those. That's awesome. So that just shows some little bit of eagerness. So, how do I want to do this one? Who's in this group here? Who's with you? Okay. Well, I meant just the 2 of you?
I'm with 1, 2, 3, 4.
The 6
I'm all
of
the way
us.
down to the younger
Yeah.
group.
Okay.
Yep.
Because this one in particular, this is a spirit box, and
Yeah.
since she asked for one, I usually put 2 people on this, so pick your partner.
I'll get my sister.
All right.
I'm gonna walk over.
Yep. So spirit boxes. Spirit boxes allow us to communicate with the dead in a bunch of different ways. How are we going to use this thing tonight? So this one in particular does not record anything. That's why I put it with 2 people, so that way they can verify each other. It sweeps through all your FM radio stations very quickly. Now, your TV shows will have that annoying static white noise sound and then give you a phrase of what they think they want you to hear. I have this one slowed down. Reason for that is because that's not the only way to use it. I want the radio chatter to come through. I want the DJs, the song lyrics, the commercials. I want those little bits of words or phrases to come through. So whatever the 2 of you hear, it's a good possibility that it might actually mean something. If it's something silly like, what color is my shirt? And you hear the side of the gray truck, we still have the word gray. We're still going to take it. Do you see where I'm going with an intelligent response on this? Now, it's a 50-50 shot. Diamonds Direct, which is a common commercial here in Charleston, is probably not going to be, and it'll probably come through often. So it's up to you two to kind of determine what you hear and then communicate back to me, and we'll kind of decipher if it actually meant anything.
Okay.
So you have 1 button to worry about. I set these devices up super simple. There's a volume button on the right-hand side. You push it up for volume up. You push it down for volume down. You have to hold it. So we're obviously going to keep it down when I'm talking, so that way I'm not shouting over top of it, because we are going to have another spirit box as well.
What's this one?
That's the speaker.
Okay. Good job. Nice.
All right, let's stick with spirit boxes for a second. Can I find the other one? There it is. All right, so where are we at here? That was looking pretty fancy. So this particular spirit box is going to do the exact same thing that theirs is doing, only it's going to record it for us. The cool thing about this recording is that it doesn't record any outside noise. It also will record when it's on mute. So even like when I told them to keep it on mute, obviously when I'm talking, the next couple that has this, if it's on mute, we still get the recording the next morning at a nice even level. That's the reason why I bought it. It's an amazing tool. So even if they don't hear anything, it's fine. I'm going to go through the recording in the morning based on our hotspots throughout the night and give you some audio markers to listen for. It might be relevant, it might not be. Worst case scenario is you learn how to listen to a spirit box effectively. So
I'm bad.
So you said you're putting that one on mute?
So this one has a volume control as well, okay? And it's actually going to go to the two of you, if that's okay. So there's only one button that you need to worry about. It's a turn wheel, okay? Right, there's a big button next to it. That's the power. But the next one is the volume. So it's already recording and it's already speaking to the radio station. So pretty much. Pretty much. Let's go back to the thermal imaging for just a second. So, Tom, choose your partner.
Yeah, come on, Catherine.
All right. So, see how I put everybody in pairs? So we all know what this guy is by now, right?
Ooh,
Hey, we actually do
thermometer.
have a thermometer.
Right. We actually have two different types of thermometers. This one, if Tom says, hey Nick, there's a blue spot on that wall, I can't figure out what it is, the first thing I'm going to do is surface temperature it. So I'm going to go all the way across, and I'm going to make sure that the whole thing is the same temperature. It doesn't really clarify why the wall looks blue. It means something in between Tom and the wall is kind of hovering and making things blue. So the ambient thermometer is going to help us determine if it's actual real activity or not. This is going to measure the ambient temperature around the probe here at the top, and we're going to simply move it back and forth until we find where that cold spot is. Does that make sense? Again, I'm not here to make things up. I want to prove or debunk. So this guy isn't super active. You can almost pocket it for now, which is kind of nice because it looks like you might have some pockets on your sweater there.
Oh, yeah.
But this guy, you're going to help us with gauging some of the temperatures that he's using. So folks, just keep in mind too, I have more stuff in my bag, but our first location is haunted, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have a long history. It's a chance for me to go into a little bit more tactic with each of your devices. I'm going to bounce around with each pair of people, and we're going to kind of go over a little bit more so that way the historical part of our tour makes a whole lot more sense. I mean, I'm just kind of, I don't say I rush through this part, but you guys get tired of standing there for more than 10 minutes or so. I know, right? EMF meters. These are super.
Yeah, we know. We just both play that game, and we really like it. So.
EMF meters. They never explain how they work on the TV shows. It does measure 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. Okay, so the first one is natural. It's from the Earth. That's why it's green. It's not doing anything because it's natural. The second one is going to come from cell phones, parking meters, wiring in buildings, cell phones. It's going to make it go into a pulse or a rhythm. We don't want that either. We want this thing to go erratic. We want it to go a little bit crazy. Okay? So I'm actually going to hand this off to you.
Have you ever gotten a
Whenever that
5?
thing goes nuts, just speak up. It
Don't
doesn't
talk,
make a
honey.
noise,
You're
it
not supposed
doesn't
to do
vibrate. You have to watch it. So you are.
It'll turn red.
Actually, it'll go anything but what it's doing right now. So any little blip off that first green, because there's a green after it as well. Let us know. Doesn't have to go to red.
Have you ever gotten a 5?
Yes. Pretty much nightly.
Charleston's one of the most haunted cities in the world.
Supposedly. I'm just kidding.
Alright, so how do I want to do this?
So when you said skeptic, you should have raised your hand.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying supposed. No, I'm skeptic. I like it.
You haven't said a word all night.
Just watching.
Which means you are probably a responsible person. I'm speculating, of course. The phone's right next to me.
I want to make sure that it's off.
Alright, so this is the neuralizer for Men in Black. I need you all to stare right here. What is it really? It's a grid pen. What do these guys do? So they actually help us see things we can't see with the naked eye. So we can't see the lasers from the gun to the ground unless something passes through it. Okay, so that's what we're after here, is we're hoping something's going to pass through it. This is a laser. The reason why I said responsible person, this person needs to make sure that the laser stays down in front of them, usually within 5 feet of a radius, and that's
And
as
not
far as it
alive.
goes. So it's very tricky because it has a button and you have to actually hold it. So if you have it on and you accidentally flip it up your arm or put it in your pocket or whatever, you could flash a car. So it has to be very careful. That one goes to you.
I get the neuralizer.
You get the neuralizer. You get to erase all our memories, and then we have to listen to it the next day.
Maybe don't. Which one's down? That's right. Down. It's okay. Just
Yeah.
making sure.
Got it. I appreciate that. All right. So we're going to try to keep the lasers in the same vicinity. This one is a little different. This one gives us red squares. Why? So if something passes through this one, I can then put a picture or a video inside 3D software, and we can get a full 3D view of what we caught. So have I caught anything with this guy yet? I have not. I'm not going to even put it out there that I have and make stuff up for you. So this one, tonight's the night. I love the enthusiasm. So, young lady, you are in charge of this one. This one is a little different because it has a toggle switch. So if you have it on, you don't have to hold it on like that one. So again, point it down, 5 feet in front of you.
So while we're walking, it goes on the whole time?
Not exactly the whole time. I'll always say when it's safe for lasers. So kind of wait for my mark.
Laser time!
Alright? I will tell you that there is a laser law in Charleston and Nick could walk away in handcuffs. That's how important it is for me to know where the lasers are at all times. Last but not least, I don't hand this device to teenagers because they have no idea what the heck it is. This is a very, very simple digital camera. The flash is not set up on this. I don't want any flash. Why? Because, I'm sorry, name again?
Kelly.
Kelly. If Kelly takes pictures of this building with windows and we get the flash back on it and I hand those photos over to my wife to analyze, she's going to say, Nick, come on, you know better. I don't want any false positives. What I do want are a bunch of pictures of through the lasers. So go ahead and point one of you point your lasers straight down for me. So really what we're looking for are pictures like this.
Okay.
You want to go through it, not down at it, because we want to catch what's here, not on the ground.
Okay.
It will shut off on you from time to time. There's a power, which is right next to the big shoot, shoot button. The rule of thumb for you on this is nobody along this wall can be in pictures. None of you signed waivers for this, so I don't do legalities. Now, in the event there is activity in one of the pictures and one of you is in it, I crop you out, blur your face, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So again, I'm all about the media.
I'll be sure to
Now,
do.
I'm perfectly fine to be in pictures. So my business, I can do what I want. It's going to be in it. Last but not least, I'm going to use a few things myself, like I said. I know, I talk a lot. You guys got to shut me up every once in a while. So, I know, right? So I'm going to use a backup EMF in the event yours goes dead, which does happen from time to time. I do have spare batteries, but in a pinch, I have a backup. It's not sensitive, but it does work. The next thing I'm going to use is a spirit box on my phone that puts words in the screen from time to time, and then we'll save those words in a list. Here's what I'm going to tell you about the list. I'm going to clear this one out. That's from my last tour. They had 62 words. The list, 80% of it, pardon my French, is BS, bullshit, doesn't mean anything, okay? It's meant to be a game and a hoax. It's the other 5 to 15%. Now, I've had tours where only one word made sense. I've had others where I had 25 to 30 words that made sense. So I will give you always the full list and the verifiable link of where I got my data from based on where we are or what's happening with our tour. It will stay open all night long, and we already got the word garage. That'll be the first word on your list. Do I find it part of the 80%? I do. So it doesn't really mean anything to this location. I know there's a parking garage behind us, but I don't think a ghost really cares about the parking garage, nor do they want to talk about it. The second thing I'm going to use is called a reverse spirit box. So what's a reverse spirit box? Reverse spirit box, they claimed that it was an FM radio station being turned backwards, kind of like the sweeps on the spirit boxes we have running. That's impossible. You cannot take a live stream like FM radio stations and flip them backwards. You can't do it. So what do? I put it in software, I analyzed it, and I flipped it forwards. I found out that it's a man and a woman just saying random words. That's it. Then they flip the audio backwards. It's a little creepy. I am going to go down the line so you all can hear it, but I'm also going to play an EVP for y'all that actually comes out of this. So let me mask up because I got to get a little close to it. I know, I talk a lot. So, I'm going to give you guys the gist of what this sounds like. You can't make anything out, right? It's all gibberish?
Right.
Okay, next group.
Yeah, that sounds backwards. Yeah. That's dumb.
Complete gibberish, right?
You can tell the way it cuts off.
Right. It's obviously the way our syllables are. So here's an EVP that I caught with that particular app, and I'll explain it here in a second, but you need to hear it first.
Baked beans breakfast. Baked beans breakfast.
Everybody catch that? Baked beans breakfast? Alright, so here's what happened. The red spirit box told me, I'll fix you. I caught that the next morning. Baked beans breakfast, I caught in real time. And then the word tea shows up on my word list. What does that mean? I'll fix you baked beans breakfast and tea. That is a breakfast over in the UK. I was talking about a woman from England in the 1700s. You can see how I have to analyze this data in the morning to see where our hotspots are. So again, I had a full sentence that came out of 3 different devices. I just had to piece it together. They were all within 2.5 minutes of each other. So the first one was like a minute in between, and the next one was like 2.5 minutes.
So you have to play these simultaneously and tie them together?
Not necessarily. Everything I do has timestamps on it. So if I see a bunch of words that might be relevant, or like baked beans breakfast is obviously something of significance. I never heard that phrase before in my life.
So do you transcribe them, or does it spit out
It spit it out for me.
a written version so you can read it?
No, but I can do that.
Yeah.
I have the capability. So I caught it in real time, so I just looked at everything around within like 5 to 8 minutes around that time frame on all the other pieces of data that record. So that's how I was able to kind of clue all that together. So you guys get the gist of why I do what I do? All right. So we all start here for a reason. This place is haunted, of course. Why else would we start here? So this place used to be called Big John's Tavern back in the 1970s. So Big John's Tavern was named after a football player. His name was John Canady. That's John Candy with an extra syllable. And he used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets that came over from the Citadel were of age or not. So just cut them off if they weren't of age. So one night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough. Big John tells them, get them out of here. So they leave, pretty mad. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees what's going on, and he gets into a little fight with them on the floor. A couple of shots were fired. Sorry about the traffic, by the way. It won't be like that all night. So a couple of shots were fired, and John gets shot in the neck. The bullet ricochets and lands in the wall. John finishes beating up the guy on the ground, and he goes back to the bar, and he says, get me a beer and go get him an ambulance. And I just told you a story where nobody died. It's the bullet hole that ricocheted off of John's neck, landed in the wall. The bullet hole is still here. They say that people in the front of the bar get a little queasy, dizzy, headache, nauseous, those kind of things. I bring this up on purpose because I don't know how paranormal activity is going to affect all of you. Okay, so it's a pretty big deal. I do have stones on me, things are blessed, the whole 9 yards, things are grounded for me. But again, if any of you are feeling any of those things, I need to know. We'll move on pretty quickly. I've had people not make it through the tour. It's a big deal to me. First time that somebody felt like drop, I was in CPR class. So I don't say that to scare you because this isn't a scary tour. It's scientific evidence. So just please let me know. It's a big deal.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So regarding this drizzle that keeps wanting to do something and then not, so I'm debating about my umbrella. So are we going to be inside, outside most of the
All
time?
outside the entire time.
All outside.
Do you want me to grab it for you?
Yeah.
We'll grab it all along our way. How about that?
Yep.
Because we're going to be heading that way in just a second. So, did you guys know that we had an earthquake here in 1886? Pretty big one, 7 point something, right? Allegedly, this is where the first death occurred. So a piece of the mantling that's above your heads also wraps around the front of the building, and somebody got hit in the head with a piece that broke off from the earthquake and died. I don't have any verifiable proof. I talked to some historians. I heard the story multiple times, so take it for what it's worth. I just like to get y'all's mind off of your own health that you could end up sick from the storm. So, are you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Yeah.
All right. So you guys tired of hearing me talk?
No,
Yeah,
not
I hear
really.
grumbles. All right, let's get her umbrella, and then we're actually going to go this way anyway.
Infrared. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Can you turn it on?
See if I can do this and not follow my face.
Yeah.
we get the umbrella?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that part.
I want you guys to keep in mind too, we might run into some other tours tonight, and I want you to look at the size of them. This is the max capacity that I'll go to. Charleston says I'm allowed to go up to 20 people. I won't do it. Why? It's not for COVID reasons. It's so that this tour stays personal to you. So I'm going to bounce around and work with every one of you tonight, and I'm going to have at least a little bit of conversation. You're going to see some groups tonight of 20 plus. Some of these tour guides like to break the rules.
This is like going.
That's what we're looking for.
Oh,
Perfect. So you're already on the ball.
okay.
All right, so we're going to talk about that in a second, but I need to tell you guys where we are first.
Okay.
So, again, just kind of like in your ghost hunting TV shows, you got to know a little bit of history before you get started. So this is what I call the Red Barn Lot. This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. The horses are inside. All three of you with lasers. No lasers can be on that building at any time. You will spook the ponies. We're not going to upset any animals tonight. So, spirit boxes, if you are close to those windows back there, that's where the horses are. You want to keep it to an audible level to yourselves only. Okay, you don't want to make it too loud to spook those horses. They will start kicking the walls and then scare the hell out of all of us. So this is the same Red Barn Lot where we kept the horses that delivered milk to Charleston. So kind of keep that in mind as I kind of go through the rest of these devices. So EMF, I think you already have a good gist. You know how to use a digital camera. Spirit boxes. So the two teams that I have with spirit boxes, this is not a TV show where it's a, hey Johnny, why'd you kill Billy? We're not here to provoke anything. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to stay away from yes and no questions. Let me give you an example. Is somebody here? No. First off, that means somebody's here. Second, if the DJ or commercial said the word houses, you think you heard the word yes. We don't want that either. Why? Because S and O are two of the most common sounds we have in the English language. So it's too easy to mistake and get all excited over a yes or no question. You're going to ask something simple that you already know the answer to. I'm starting you all off something simple. Can everybody see that the barn is red?
Yes.
Okay, so what color is the barn? You're going to wait about 30 seconds and hopefully hear the word red. If you don't hear the word red, ask the same question again. Ask it several times, 2, 3, maybe 4 tries. If you don't get a try or an answer after that, then we can open it up a little bit. So with that is, okay, you want to tell me what color the barn is? What's inside the barn? So at this point, we just opened it up. We know there are horses in there, but they delivered milk to Charleston. They're also draft horses. Anything relating to those ponies inside is relatable. Does that make sense? So color red, we can't, it's not blue, it's not purple, it's red. It's one syllable. But when we say what's inside, there's all kinds of answers we can get. So the great thing is yours is recording. So whatever you hear, we're all going to hear tomorrow. So spirit box teams, go ahead and start. We're going to stay within the lot. If you guys want to go ahead and get started on that. Laser teams, again, keep your lasers down. And I need lots of pictures through those lasers as they're kind of checking things out. I want you to keep in mind that
We're
those
just kind
lasers,
of doing this all around.
you want to try to keep it as still as possible. Those are meant to be set up in a room. Oh, there's the horse kick. So those are meant to be set up in a room with a video camera so that in the event something passes through it, then you have something going on. So lasers, camera, and the EMF, the 4 of you should be sticking somewhat close together.
Okay.
Because they should be definitely having those lasers out as the EMF spikes. Thermal imaging team, temperature team. I like to work with you guys individually. So Spirit Box team, you guys can go ahead and turn yours up and start listening and asking some questions, and I'm going to follow up with you guys in just a few minutes. So thermal imaging team. Let's start with this wall here. I want you to point your camera at that wall and tell me what you see.
It's all reddish.
All reddish, perfect.
Yep.
So what happens when I get into the picture?
You get some orangish.
Okay, now we have a variation of color, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's what you want. You want to try to keep somebody in view at all times. Our skin is going to be the warmest thing out here. You need a base. You need a hot temperature so you can see what the cold temperature is supposed to be. I'm going to show you a quick video of something I caught a few months ago. Sorry, I normally have it screened up, just so I can show it quickly. So it's the next location that we're going to. As soon as I get to it. Of course, you can imagine whenever I get something this good, I have to post it somewhere.
It always helps.
I know, right? Thanks, Facebook. Thanks for screwing it up. So what you're looking at, this orange right here is a wall. You're going to see two living people going past it. On the other side, you see their heads?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to go, fast forward a few seconds, you're going to see two dead people going the opposite way. 1, 2.
Oh, Jesus.
That person right there was always in view.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've sent this off to some mechanic and fireman friends of mine, said, tell me what's going on here. And they're like, you had two dead people. That's plain and simple. There's no two ways around it.
Charleston.
Right. So probably the best evidence I've caught with that camera, but again, it's not the most exciting tool in the world, but it obviously can catch something. So
Right.
let's go back to the wall for a second. I want you to put your red dot on this wall for me, and you guys tell me what temperature differences you guys have.
I have 59.7.
Okay?
I got 63, no 64.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So you're above hers.
Yeah.
Okay? So if yours, because you're getting ambient temperature as well, she is not.
Right.
So again, the yellow one's not so exciting until his drops below yours.
Okay.
So in the event that his says 57 and you show 59, he has 57 in here somewhere. So then you pull out the yellow one, which has a power button right there at the bottom right.
And then
So-
you start looking for it.
Yeah, so go ahead and turn that on for a second. So there's two numbers on there. The big number is humidity. We don't care about humidity here. It's the bottom number that you're looking for.
Okay.
Okay. So, again, in this particular lot, you have metal, you have asphalt, trees, foliage, cars. So I will tell you that some people get a little weird about cameras in their cars, and with you looking like you're holding a cell phone that's filming,
Yeah.
when we're around and people are like coming around us that you don't recognize from our group, then you're just going to pretend to hold a cell phone.
Yeah,
People
that's,
get really weird. Trust me, I've been yelled at 1,000 times. Lasers, as far as you go with yours, that one is strong enough to set off a car alarm. You got it. All right, so that's some fun. Going back to the bike.
Supposedly she heard the word red. She wasn't paying
what's the part of this is supposed to be haunted though?
I don't know what's haunted exactly. Well, I mean, that's the bar, isn't it? Right there.
Yeah.
You're looking for blue, right?
Yeah, and this whole thing's blue.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore. Well, when you walk into it, it turns blue.
We want it to turn blue. You're looking for extra blue. He said you want to keep a body in it the whole time.
Yeah, that's why I'm following you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all behind you is blue, so.
Oh, those are cool.
Huh?
Is that enough of a spike to stop?
We asked how many cars were on the lot. We don't know if it counted that one because there is 5 between here and there. It said 4 or 5.
I think you're just gonna have to like kind of point your thing at something.
I mean, you're only gonna need to do it if you see something like cold, very cold, like abnormally cold.
Well, it's at 61 degrees.
If it goes below 60 something, 60's fine. 57.
Go down to like the bottom of the, where it almost touches the ground.
That was the worst.
That's 63.
What else?
Oh, cat check. Coming away.
Double-digit numbers, which could relate to Big John's teammates.
nice camera you've got there, Buckaroo. You enjoying the camera?
Your head is 91 degrees.
Nice. How to tell if anyone has COVID? Yeah.
Are we testing for fevers?
No,
What are you gonna mean? I don't know, man.
So I thought about putting a disclaimer on my ticket stubs saying you will be tested because I have obviously enough thermometers here to be able to get
right,
all of
right.
them.
So she said the EMF was over there, so it was right
Right around where those drips were, wherever that is. So I'm gonna always look at the graph so I can keep track of what it was. When it goes hunting, you gotta move around.
Yeah.
You gotta move around.
I don't know where you want to go, Kat.
Oh, man.
The whole side of the building is not like it's super.
Could keep me in it too.
Well, it's hard to.
Yeah. What about over that way?
Yeah, I can go over there.
Like check. See if there's. They're taking pictures of this. So.
So I have caught something that red that I can't explain. So it wasn't necessarily a full 3D apparition type thing where it was like hovering above air, but they took a picture down, like what I told them, and there was 3 rings in the square. Like it was odd. It was probably the strangest thing I've caught out of there, and I can't say that I put it in 3D.
The coldest temperature out here is this piece of concrete out there.
Yeah. Yeah, 57.9.
Yeah, I'm still at 59, so.
Yours is the hay.
There's like the reason why I call this cemetery is because it's one big cemetery. There's enough war, famine, fires. There's enough stuff here. Like we're always walking on something. Yeah. So again, I get asked that question all the time.
Caroline, Kira.
I know people get excited about it on the cemetery.
You're in mine.
Yeah.
You're on mine.
All right, you guys ready to learn some real history now?
Yes.
All right, let's head this way, guys.
Oh. Oh, I got one.
Fogging right up.
are we? This is the Charles.
Whoa. This what went all the way across. Right as I was coming across there.
Awesome.
It hit a floor.
Lasers.
Not yet. Let's get into the
Not
story.
yet, okay.
Sorry.
If you're going to get activity like that now, it's going to pretty much happen the entire time we're here,
All right.
which is a good sign. So, all right, now, again, stay away from that back corner. He does get a little grumpy, especially with the spirit boxes making noise around him trying to sleep. So, so this is Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion site. So it's a parking lot now. I know it's not beautiful, but not all parts of Charleston are pretty. So their mansion we're standing right where we are, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with that tree over there on the left and went all the way across. And then the servant quarters were in the back. So kind of like where that sign is, and those trucks are facing us. So kind of gives you the layout of the land. So who were Eliza and Charles Pinckney? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew were signers of our Constitution. It's 2020. I hate politics. Let's move on. So let's talk about Eliza. Now, baked beans breakfast, this is where this occurred. Eliza's originally from England. Okay, so her dad was sick back home over in England, and he wanted all his kids home. She didn't want to go. So she got married to Charles at a very young age. So I'm kind of giving you guys clues for your spirit boxes of things to ask. You can find out what age she was when she got married. The irony in that is that that's also the date of her birthday. So it's the same number, and I get it constantly throughout this tour. So
What's the same?
her birthday,
Yes.
as well as the age she was when she got married. So she got married, Dad got better. Dad starts sending gifts over from England. One of those gifts happened to be indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye. It makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. So that being said, indigo is a huge cash crop for Charleston. Our rice plantations were going downhill, and we needed something new to kind of save Charleston and the colonies. So she uses Dad's contacts to start selling this cash crop overseas, which makes her a very successful businesswoman in the 1700s. A businesswoman was something unheard of in colonial times. So that cash crop, it just started here. They obviously had to pick it up and move it to a farm and a plantation, which is in Mount Pleasant. That's what Snee Farm is. So if you go there, you'll see a dedication to Charles Pinckney, her husband. So a couple of interesting facts about Eliza that you can ask on your spirit boxes. So young ladies, please listen up. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. So she goes by her maiden name. Maiden, not middle. Young kids always get that confused. No offense, guys. So Eliza blank Pinckney. But the first wife did the exact same thing. Eliza blank Pinckney. Both maiden names start with the letter L. That's all I'm going to tell you. You can ask, obviously, how old she was when she got married, when her birthday is. You can ask anything you want to about her death. How old she was, where did she die, how did she die, where is she buried, and which U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Now, I have only given you questions that I've had the answers to multiple times. And I'm not just calling first names for that president, by the way. I've had the full EVP 4 times of which U.S. president was the pallbearer. And it's pretty significant. So if you can get that tonight, I'll be pretty pleased with that. Let's see, you can ask what happened to the mansion. Why is it no longer here? What was here after her mansion was no longer here? You can ask all of those type of questions. Thermal imaging, by all means, you want to get a full view of everything that we have going on, except for our friend back there snoring away.
Roger.
Lasers, please keep them off the vehicles. They are strong enough to set off alarms. I don't want to run with 10 people. So, I've done it.
We don't want to run either.
So, let's see, what else do we have? Your EMF, again, the team of 4 that I set up, this is a nice dynamic. I've never done this before with the cameras and the lasers in 2 different hands. They're normally in one person's hands. So this is a nice way to kind of put you guys together. What else do we have going on here? You guys have a spirit box. Yeah, so it's going to go crazy in this particular area. So, hey, what's kind of weird is, everybody see the blinking light on the back of Five Church Restaurant?
Yeah.
It's not always blinking. Actually, it hasn't blinked for me on a tour in probably 2 weeks. It's a very weak light, but that EMF meter is kind of obviously my barometer of how much activity are we going to get, but it's usually in sync with that light when it is blinking. Sometimes it's just on. Sometimes when it's just on, we don't get much. When it's off, I can't tell. When it's blinking like that, you can actually hold that up like this, like you're looking at the thing straight on, and it'll be in time with the blinking of that light. I've tested it dozens of times. It's usually within 2 frames of a video. So it's kind of like the energy pouring out of here and affecting that very weak light over there. People ask, why isn't it affecting the other light? It's obviously a much stronger light. Oh, look at that, it stopped.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
So I'm going to be doing my own thing with my spirit boxes. So I'm going to stay away from the other 2 spirit box teams. But we can feel free to spread out. But again, let's try not
What corner is Mr.
He's back that way, Catherine.
straight back.
There's a real sleeping around though.
Yeah.
You ready for some pictures?
Yeah.
Alright, you guys can stay up here.
Alright, I gotta take this thing off for that.
Tell me if you see anything cool. That way?
I mean, everything's around 60 degrees on the ground, so.
Go away, this way.
That is, I don't eat out. So, like, all the restaurants down here, and how does the cook diet? What is it?
76 right now.
I don't want to say yes or no, because I don't know. It's a great scene.
I could have swore I just saw something shoot like that.
Everything on the ground right there is like 59 degrees. Oh, what happened?
What happened? Oh, did it try to quit?
Oh, this thing's. Oh no, it stopped counting up, recording. I think. Or is it still recording?
Don't worry about the counter.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, as long as that square is there and it doesn't turn to a full circle, you're good.
All right, cool.
So, are we catching anything on here?
Not
I'm not
really.
seeing anything.
So that, where the video that I showed y'all
Yeah.
was in that corner. Now,
Was it?
obviously that car is in our way, but the reason why they called me over there is because they thought they saw some shadows. So I went up there to go debunk things and try to figure
I
things out.
literally just saw something shoot out of the corner of my eye, like right here by the entrance.
Supposedly, what age did she die at? Because we got something at 19.
No. She lived a pretty long life.
Yeah, because we got a 19 over there.
And that's
Way too
not,
young.
Not a general number.
it's not even a number that I know that would be related to her at all. So it's not her birthday, it's not her birth year, it's not any of those things.
Yeah, 'cause we got like 19. I just got 73. So.
That's why why we carry personal computers with us. I want to verify that thing's not first.
I asked her when she died and she said something. Or at least that could have been flu. Some sort of killer.
Nope.
What did you get the answer of 73 to?
How old she was when she died.
Close. Very close. I'll give you that.
She can't remember her old age.
Oh no, she tells me.
I can go check it out over there, Cat. I don't see nothing. But... Let's go around the car.
How old were you when you got married?
How old were you when you got married?
Yeah, so we can know where the other
How old were you when you got married, Eliza?
Check the ground right there, Cat. Behind you.
$55?
I'm still higher than you.
Also, Mom. Where was your mansion torn down? You're kind of interesting how you can have. How old were you when you got it? Eliza, what was your husband's name?
Look, Akira.
What?
Okay, don't pick up stuff off the ground out here. There's a homeless dude right there. And you could be
Eliza, what was your husband's name?
you don't want to pick up other people's litter and whatnot.
Eliza, what was your middle name? What was your maiden name?
What's up, Lou?
Huh?
What's up, Lou? I'll be fine.
I think it's a hotel. It's probably just a decoration or whatnot. Yeah. I want you to pick up like a freaking needle or something, you know what I mean? Come over here with me. I need someone in my shot here. getting anything with this. The lowest I get's like 57 degrees.
I just don't know how long we're gonna be out here.
Huh? Well, I don't know. The last ghost tour I went on wasn't interactive like this. It was more of just a history lesson. Yeah, I might see if Mimi will get us some food on the way back. Oh, actually, we're going to get Krispy Kreme on the way back, too.
Eliza, where are you from? It's just me sandwich.
I must need to pee and I'm hungry.
We got more food over
What?
there.
So I need to pee and I am hungry.
I'm wondering if the store is open. So
Do you see anything to check?
No.
No?
There's having various numbers, but none of them close enough to do anything.
Okay, like what?
I just got 4.
Okay.
We both got 19, she got 73 or something like that. Over there, I got 73.
She did have 4 children. I will tell you that.
I didn't ask for children right now.
I don't usually give you guys a whole lot of info about the kids because there was a tragedy among one of them, and if we start poking around with that, then all activity stops. So I stopped telling people, hey, go ahead and ask what the daughter's name was, like trying to avoid the kids first. I didn't even mention that she got kids anymore because it just stops all activity. So
She just gets angry.
it does, and sometimes she wants to bring it up herself. So
She brought it up.
well, she did say 4. She didn't say baby. She didn't say died. You know what I mean? She didn't bring up any of those kind of terms around the little worried. If it was a different kind of phrase, I'd be a little bit more worried.
I can always carry that or whatnot. I'll tell him. Oh, yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
okay.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You too. Are they leaving?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I guess it's
Really good. Oh, so
yeah, when it gets all.
here, you do these, and I'll take pictures. This is crazy. It's just like.
Hey, Kira. Kira, come over here with the box. Instead of asking questions, I mean, the EMF reader's going crazy.
How old were you when you died? What president was at your funeral? Eliza, what was your middle name?
Ask her how old she was when she died.
You ask the same questions, you get no response. We've asked all these questions.
Oh, okay.
We did get one response about her children, supposedly. She had 4 children.
Did she have 4 children?
She did have 4 children. She said, okay, I didn't specifically ask about children, but she said supposedly she will sometimes just randomly bring up that number, and typically after you start talking about her children, she disappears. She just leaves. She gets angry. She literally just gets angry at you and leaves.
Yeah.
You got, tell us when you got more colors.
I just got 20
I mean,
without
it's
asking
been going
a
off the whole
question.
time.
Yeah, this area right here
Uh-huh.
is like, it goes all the way to red.
All right, shine your light.
Like, I'm going over here.
Shine
and
your
it
light.
stops.
Eliza, how did you die?
Have you had any cold spots?
It's all blue. I mean, it's
Do
nothing.
my hand, it's kind of cold.
My heart is cold.
Eliza, how did you die? She died by jazz music. I'm just kidding.
Jazz music. Come on, girls, let's go over here.
That's my jazz hand. Eliza, how did you die? For now, we are assuming Eliza died via jazz hands. She's not giving us anything else.
No one literally
How
no
old
one
were you?
Eliza.
1-7? How old were you when you got married?
Come on.
So, unfortunately, this is one of those places that has so much EMF that it can't affect people. So, I do want to give you some of the answers to the questions that I had you guys ask. So that way you guys are a little bit more informed. So first off, that corner over there is where the house burned down on the 2nd story.
I thought it was fire.
So that was in the Great Fire of 1861, and that's after Charles and Eliza were alive. But obviously they were probably keeping an eye on their beautiful home that they had here. Eliza Lucas Pinckney is the one that planted the indigo. So Lucas was her maiden name. The first wife, her name was Lamb Pinckney. So Eliza Lamb Pinckney. So Lamb and Lucas. As far as Eliza's death, she died at the age of 70. So you guys heard 73. That's close, but not the right number. So, from breast cancer that we know of. Now we're talking colonial times. It's very hard to determine what would have been breast cancer back in the 1700s. So again, take that for what it's worth. All the research and data that I have says breast cancer. That was in Philadelphia. She was up there on business at the age of 70. Breast cancer got the best of her, and she's also buried there in Philadelphia. So she's not even buried here. Her husband Charles is buried at St. Philip's, which we're going to be heading there shortly. And the pallbearer that everybody's wondering about, George Washington. Yes. So
That popped in my head, but I didn't have any.
George Washington, and that's an EVP I've heard on 3 different spirit boxes at this point in time. George Washington.
That's how you know you're important.
You got a president carrying you into the grave. But I didn't even know that fact until I obviously got the data from here. I'm like, I seen it twice in 1 week. I'm like, that's got to be relevant to something, and it was just a fact that I didn't know. And
Was he president after that or before that?
Would have been
What year did she die?
would have been 1793.
So he was already been president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the other question I had you guys ask? I think that about covered all of the Eliza questions.
Children? Was there a question on children?
We didn't ask a question on children. She just gave a random number 4.
Yeah, she gave the random number 4, and they didn't know what that meant. I'm going to kind of correlate that to there was 4 kids. I don't normally bring up the children because there was a tragedy with an infant. We don't know how old that infant was, whether it was days or weeks, but usually when we start poking around with that tragedy, all activity stops. So I didn't even ask you guys to bring that up. I normally say go ahead and ask what the daughter's name was, which was Harriet, because she was very close to Harriet. They used to write letters back and forth quite often. But with that said, that means people start poking around with the tragedy, and then the rest of our tour is pretty much gone. Okay, have a good night.
Okay.
So, I know.
Apparently, she didn't like paying $240 for 1 meal.
Well, where did she go?
Is Halls around here?
Magnolias, or High Cotton, I'm guessing.
Does she go to Halls?
Magnolia's is not expensive for one person. But, oh well. Sound like she probably had. Sound like she had some drinks too.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the bill was out. She don't remember how much she was drinking.
She forgot how much she was drinking. So we're going to go up East Bay Street about 4 blocks. It's definitely a masked up area. Everybody's already there, so thank you for that. We're going to head up to Lodge Alley. So if I start walking too quickly with a large group like this, just say, Nick, slow down, it's okay. My wife is disabled, so when she's not with me, I'm in like speed mode. And sometimes I forget that I have people following me.
I have a 6'6" husband.
Very true. So, your EMF meter, where is that at? So that's going to go crazy on East Bay Street because of the parking meters. You can ignore it. Absolutely no lasers on East Bay Street. Spirit box teams, if you want to listen, we're listening for names. I'm not going to tell you which names or why. I'll explain when we get to Lodge Alley. By all means, keep filming. Nice slow, I mean, you're pretty tall. That's another reason why it's going to be nice and smooth for us anyway. If you want to stop and take some touristy pictures, you can. I'm okay with that. Those touristy pictures go to everybody. So just keep in mind too, when you're taking pictures with no flash, it has to be still. Perfectly still, or else we get blurs and then I gotta send it to my wife and she said it's blurry, we can't make stuff out, but nice and still, especially if you want some of those touristy shots. So we're gonna be getting into some more prettier areas, so sorry about the parking lots, but these places are haunted. We need to find out more and more about them. So I got the word sock, which could be stocking for tomorrow's Christmas Eve. So I'll take that.
Delicious stocking.
Did you go to the bathroom?
I kind of need to go to the bathroom and I lower back right here. So.
Oh, well.
Embrace the pain. Embrace the pain. Why in the middle? Yeah, they weren't. I think they were to this house.
Okay. You guys kind of all intermingled. I lost who was part of which party.
They went to this house.
Really, better?
Caroline, restroom.
Yep, candy shop. Yep. I made sure there was at least one.
Yep. Usually she's like a camel and never goes. I'm surprised. We drove all the way from Louisiana. I think she stopped for one time.
Wow. I'm about to go to Florida. So we'll see how the in-laws, my daughter, my wife, the dogs, like that's, we leave on Monday. So
We did North Dakota to Louisiana with all 4 of us and a dog and 2 cats.
Wow. How long of a drive was that?
Too long.
4 days.
We spread it out over 5 days. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's too much to like marathon it. It's just.
I mean, I drive to Pennsylvania because my in-laws live up there, and that's quite a haul. Like, we don't go in the winter time anymore. Like, we stopped doing that.
That's just silly.
Yeah, it's too much. We moved down here for a reason. Watch, we got people coming through.
There's some drinks in there.
Feeling better now? Now we're out of there.
I want to go in there.
So my daughter's on the tour. She always says, "Can we just stop at the candy shop?" It's your money. Go ahead. My dentist.
Want a drink or something?
I'm thirsty. Yeah. I don't know if they had.
Okay.
They only have glass bottles of soda and bottled water.
I don't think we want to drop glass. Accident.
That's why I took my glasses off.
I don't even wear them on the tour anymore. I stopped.
Luckily, I can see far away. I just can't see close up, so you can't read those.
And again, I analyze everything in the morning. I don't. If I can read the big word on my screen, I'm good. Again, I don't eat out. I don't drink.
You're like, I don't know.
Stay home. I know when I go try to go to weird places, and then
I don't like running.
keeps me busy enough.
Well, when she lived in England, talked about graveyards. If a graveyard's been there for 70 years, they can pave over it. They don't have to worry about it.
What?
70 years, one generation, and it's paved.
Wow.
Now, if it's old.
Take that back.
I mean,
They
you
found
gotta-
King Richard underneath us.
I was gonna say-
They found Richard III underneath the parking lot.
There's not a king
Well,
underneath the
what
parking
they
lot.
do is if they find any archaeological remains, they find it, they document it all, and then they repave over it.
Wow.
England's really so big.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You have to use the space you've got.
Huh?
They're very cute.
Oh, yeah.
I think this entire market closed down.
Yeah.
She bought like one for everybody.
I wonder if the coffee store is there.
It's a the what?
There's a fudge store over in this area.
Oh, I don't know.
I remember exactly where it is. That's it. Is that a new restaurant?
Cubbies. Yeah.
The digital camera.
Me?
No.
Okay, so when we get to Lodge Alley, you're going to be the first in line. We're going to get some pictures of the alley before everybody walks down. And hopefully nobody else is down.
Okay. Just without the flash, right?
Correct. You always take 2 pictures, like with the lasers is different, like you can just keep taking big pictures. You always want a minimum of 2 pictures when we're taking pictures like this as well as this location.
Okay.
Because that way, in case something does pop up, there's something in comparison.
Okay.
Fine walking around here if you're on.
What?
So you're fine just walking around out
I know a lot more people will be walking around down here if COVID is something. I also just like going out at night like this.
Well, I mean, even that bar was open back there, so I mean, it's not like anything's completely shut down.
I mean, it should.
Except for the bubble tea place.
That's bad because it wasn't shut down because it was shut down. It was shut down it wasn't shut down because of COVID. It was shut down due to like literally like they didn't have enough money to keep the area. Well, that was also because of COVID, but it wasn't because of directly because of COVID. It wasn't a temporary shutdown. It was you were gone.
This smells delicious.
Yeah, I won't be.
There you go.
Well, that's not sketchy looking at all.
That's where we're going.
My brain just goes to like some dude probably have like a fight down here. Fight down the alley. Sure. Oh, freaking tooth or two. Some dude gets freaking shanked like at the edge of a Tesco's or something. Well, it was full of pirates. This is one time when Mom said like I'm gonna shake your man up under the Tesco's. I'm like, okay, buddy. I got EMF 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it steady?
Steady.
Coming from the buildings.
Okay.
Execution style again, now that we're in a dark alley. I can get away with it. So, welcome to Lodge Alley. Obviously, these are clay bricks that you guys are walking on. None of them are the same shape, size, or evenly spaced. So, did you guys listen to your spirit boxes along the way?
I didn't hear anything.
Okay. Nothing on your end? Okay. So, this particular alley used to be a street. This is one of the oldest streets inside of the original Charlestown walls. As you can see, this is only wide enough for horse and buggy. We're going to be kind of brief here because this is technically a quiet area. This is a hotel behind you. So that's why I say let's cut the spirit boxes off. But this is where, with the people that used to live here, I have the list of residents of every person that's ever lived here. The 2 common names I see often are Benjamin and John. They lived here in 1801. There was only 5 people that lived here in 1801. Benjamin and John were 2 out of the 5. So when I see their names come up, as often as I do, at least once a month I'd say, it's not coincidence. Obviously they want to come through and tell me something. So I want you to keep in mind too that the peninsula of Charleston used to be much skinnier, so those buildings down there wouldn't have been there. The smell of low tide would have been coming through here, which means the people that lived here were probably of low, poor class. So they did identify those folks as lower class by doing an archaeological dig in between these bricks without damaging the bricks, obviously. They did find some of their silverware, their tools, some of their clothing that classified these people as lower class people. So the Masons used to meet down here as well. Again, these 2 buildings weren't here. This was an open street before it became residence. So the Masons would have met down here before people lived here. So that's all the information I have on the Masons. A lot of people like to poke questions at the Mason stuff, but there's not much. I can't find it. They're hiding it from me for some odd reason. I do get a lot of weird anomalies down here as far as lights and pictures. That's why we stopped to take pictures. So I'm going to ask another. I'm sorry if I'm being rude. Which parties do I still have here? So that was KRISTIN that left. Is KRISTIN still here?
KRISTIN's here.
I think it was,
so you
was
two
it
are the
Kelly?
KRISTIN.
Was it
Kelly.
Kelly or
Okay.
Kelly left.
All right. So I was just kind of making sure. I told y'all I'm horrible at names, and then you guys intermingled, and I was moving you all
Yeah,
around.
well, all 6 of us are actually, you know.
Yeah, I
one
got,
that's
so that was all
party,
under
yeah.
Wendy's name.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. KRISTIN, then you're KRISTIN. Got it, okay. So I was kind of like, all right, which 2 did I miss? Because I need to make sure I call them in the morning to check on them. Just that kind of person. So I want to make sure they're okay. I got the word brave, so we're going to take that too. But Benjamin and John are 2 common things. The picture thing, we do get a lot of weird blue orbs down here. So blue orbs down here, or again, really cool stuff that's always the same, and there's lots of evidence that I found. The pictures that we're going to be taking tonight with the camera is the only piece that doesn't get uploaded directly to my website. I create a folder on the Facebook page for Stories in a Cemetery, and you get a link directly to it in the middle of your data. So you'll be able to see the evidence folder that I have there as well. There's some EVPs, some videos to watch. So if we do capture something, that picture that we capture something with will be copied into the evidence folder as well to hopefully keep Nick working for a very, very long time. So I like to stand here for a few minutes just to let the spirit box run and kind of see if anything pops up when I go through it in the morning. So I haven't gotten anything else on mine. But we are going to walk through here. We're going to cut through a neighborhood, so we're going to definitely keep those spirit boxes and lasers off. We don't want to disrupt anybody. They're getting ready for Christmas tomorrow. We're out here celebrating with ghosts.
Seems legit.
So what is with this area that has to do with money?
Money?
Is there a bank or spent money?
So there was a trader that, like trader as in trade things. He lived around the corner, and then he went over to France to like sell some of the wares here from Charleston and came back. But when he came back, he didn't bring enough money with him. So he had to move into the alley. So I want to say his name was Alex Gillen was his name. But that would be one story that I can think of related to this alley about spending money. I don't know of any banks that were here. Again, I'm not a Google of all things with every brick,
Yeah.
so I dive in. I learn things myself with every tour. So where did you get spend money from? Was that from something you're using on your boat?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I've had really good luck with this over the years. I even talked to my mother through this app. So I put a lot of things in this one. So every once in a while I just turn it on and see what I pick out.
You should have turned it on from the start. Would have loved to see what you
Well,
came up with.
yeah,
I've tried it, but I haven't had much success. That's why I use the ones that I do.
Yeah.
And it also gives me data to give back to everybody else. So,
Yeah.
but I haven't had much luck with that. So
Well,
I'll
there's
be
different
curious.
versions.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay. So
They
yeah,
don't
we'll
even
definitely have to
put
chat.
that one out there anymore for some reason.
Yeah.
We'll have to chat so that way I can at least find something, at least by the same maker, so I can test it out. All right, very cool stuff. So let's go see what else we can find. Again, on our way out, we're going to take 2 pictures from opposite ways. So you can be the last one out. First one, the last one out. I won't leave you behind, I promise.
Watch your feet. Okay, as a person who grew up down here, watch your feet. Of course, you're not wearing heels.
I don't get volleyball and heels. I'm pretty sure.
Kira.
I've seen so many drunk girls come on these.
French Quarter. I knew it was called something.
I forgot she was taking pictures.
Oh, yeah.
You left it behind.
I did leave her behind. I'm such a jerk. I normally stop right there. So the next location that I would normally take you to is like directly across the street from where we came out. But we have a new neighbor that doesn't like us walking down the alley. So it's a beautiful alley. It's called Philadelphia Alley.
Do they own that alley?
They don't own it, but I'm not allowed to pass through neighborhoods until you guys tour guide things. So you did not let me walk my job.
Yeah, I did a little video after everybody left.
If you're from Boston, you get buried on this side. If you're not from Boston, you get buried on that side.
We're not putting that cart before the horse here. There you go. She's taking pictures. I'll take them. Alright. So, we do get orbs in here, so if you're a picture taker, by all means. But I stopped here, and we're going to be brief here because this is a very popular spot, and I don't like to get in the other tour's way. So the sign here says that there's the only ghost at St. Philip's is the Holy Ghost. There's a reason for that. There was a young lady by the name of Sue Howard Hardy that died 10 days after her stillborn child. So, of course, I have to tell that story. So anyway, Sue Howard Hardy, 10 days after her stillborn child. And then 1987, 99 years later, we have a local photographer in town. He's taking pictures of all the cemeteries. He finds a full apparition of a woman wearing a shawl and a baby basket next to her. Now, the irony here is that it's 1987. Cell phones, Photoshop, all that stuff didn't exist. So he sends the photo over to Kodak. That was a company that developed film. So
That used to be the bomb.
yeah. Now, they can't debunk the picture. So take that for what it's worth. The sign is now here. The church doesn't want guys like me hanging out and looking inside their cemetery looking for apparitions. So that's the story that's here. I don't show the picture on the tour because it is cursed. Females that hold it will not feel well, kind of like what we've already seen tonight, and what I explained to you guys at Big John's. Females that are pregnant holding the picture will not have a very good pregnancy. You can imagine I'm a very superstitious man. I am not cursing my tours, and I don't want anybody calling me 9 months from now saying, okay, blaming me for something else.
Yeah.
So,
I just had rosemary.
It would not have been a good idea to bring Earl in.
Alright, let's go across the street and now I have to tell you that extra story. Come on, let's go this way. I'll give you guys all a seat. Change things up tonight. There's lots of stories here, and now I have to tell you the extra one. Did you guys all notice the alley that we passed coming up this road?
Yeah, it was actually really pretty.
It's the most beautiful spot in all of Charleston. There's a story there that I used to tell until the new neighbor moved into town, and he doesn't like tour guides passing by his house, and so I have to tell you the story now because I have two very relevant terms that came up on my spirit box that are related to that alley. There was a doctor, his name was Joseph Brown Ladd. He moved down here from Rhode Island. I want you to keep those initials in mind.
What
R.I.
alley?
Philadelphia Alley. We passed it coming up here. It was on your left.
Oh.
It actually runs adjacent this way. So, where was I? Rhode Island. So he moved down here because he was supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. The name Amanda shows up on my spirit box.
How long ago was this supposed to happen? Long time ago.
Long time ago. 1788 or 1888.
Okay.
I'm going to say 1788. So, I also got the word alley right after it, which is the reason why I'm stopping to tell you this extra story. So Amanda and Allie, and we're this close, it makes complete sense. So anyway, he's supposed to get married to her. She just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents, and the attorney that's handling that money says, "You're not getting married yet. Send the doctor away." So the doctor moves to Charleston to prove that he's just not after her money. Comes down here, and he goes to coachman and brings him into town, takes him uptown because he finds a place for him to get robbed and killed. He set him up. So somebody walking by named Ralph Isaacs sees what's going on, who has the same initials, R.I., as Rhode Island. So R.I., I bring that up because it shows up on spirit boxes all the time. So we have Rhode Island and Ralph Isaacs. So Ralph says, "You don't want to stay here?" Damn it. I've got to explain further. So at this rate, he sees what's going on. He says, "Let me take you somewhere else." So he takes him to 59 Church Street. Okay, so 59 Church Street is called the Thomas Rose House. It's safe. He rents the room upstairs from two older ladies, and everything's going well. Ralph and the doctor become friends. However, the doctor's practice starts to take off. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. So, the whistle, they say when you walk through the alley, you can hear the whistles of the doctor. So I used to take folks down there to listen to the audio for the whistles, because I've caught one or two down there that I can't explain. So, him and Ralph become friends, but the doctor's practice is taking off so well that he gets different seats when they go down to the theater. So they go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare, and they're walking home talking about the play because they can't sit next to each other because they have different seats. The doctor gets better seats because he makes more money than Ralph. They start arguing about the actress that was in the play. Ralph loves her, or the doctor loves her, Ralph does not. It turns into an argument, and then Ralph insults the doctor's fiancée back home. They get into a bigger argument, and they go their separate ways. Now, Ralph is from Charleston. He has ties to the newspaper. He calls up his friends, and he says, "I need to place an ad." So he puts an ad in the paper and talks about what a disgrace the doctor is to the city of Charleston. The doctor sees the ad, and instead of, rebuttaling with, "Hey, we need to figure this out," we're going to go to Dueler's Alley, which is what Philadelphia Alley used to be, where duels would occur, to go settle this. Now, normally a duel, 75% of the time, the shot was either in the air or in the ground. It was a matter of you're willing to take a bullet for whatever you're fighting about. So him and the doctor come down, they take their 20 paces, they turn, and the doctor pointed his gun in the air and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend, but he was willing to take a bullet, and he did, in the kneecap. What's my phone say? It says knee. So, instead of, now, there is a gate. Can everybody kind of see past, the courtyard there? There's a little opening.
Yeah.
The dead guy, if there was one, would come through that courtyard and go over to St. Philip's Cemetery. They would drop the body and then go celebrate the winter. But the doctor didn't die. His friends picked him up and they carried him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later. Now, the moral of the story, don't get engaged to Amanda. You're going to die. But they say as you walk through here, you can actually hear the whistles of the doctor and or gunshots. I've never caught a gunshot, but I have caught some whistles that I can't debunk. Now, I have 3 relative terms that relate to that entire story. So guess what's going to be in your evidence in the morning? So let's talk about some of the other buildings that are here. So the corner building, the brick one, that's Bocce's. At least it used to be. Bocce's, the doors wouldn't stay shut or locked, so Bocce's left town. There are also apartments upstairs where a mirror like to fall off the bathroom walls doesn't break. It's kind of a portal. So when a mirror doesn't break when it falls, it's usually because something was holding it together as something was coming through. And this isn't a one-time occurrence. It's happened multiple times. So if Nick were to ever start a Stories in a Cemetery store, which is in his future, it will probably be hopefully in that building where I rent out the upstairs as a haunted hotel. Everybody gets a kit, and the store downstairs will sell ghost hunting equipment and books on the paranormal. Stories in a Cemetery will be huge in Charleston in the next 5 years, I promise you. Look at the crowd I have tonight. You guys are amazing. So that's the story on Bocce's. Let's go back to the church for a second. As you said earlier, who said about the native Charlestonians? Was that you? So native Charlestonians get buried on this side, all else go on this side. John Calhoun is on this side. They had to move his sarcophagus several times because they couldn't figure out if he was actually from here or not. So if you wanted to see Calhoun's sarcophagus, it is above ground. On the other side, can everybody kind of see the gas lamp off in the distance? That's the pirate house. So the pirate house has a big anchor on the front. Yes, somebody lives there. So that's where Blackbeard's men would come in off their ships. Blackbeard would stay on the ships. He's never set foot on Charleston soil. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So that's where they would come in, have a few drinks, meet with a few girls, and then they dug a tunnel from the pirate house over to Dock Street Theater, exactly 1 block away. They go catch a show. So let's talk about Dock Street Theater. I'm not big on pirates, but we do have to talk about Anne Bonny when we go to the Powder magazine. So the Dock Street Theater, this used to be Dock Street. It's now Church Street because the church was the only building that couldn't move when they widened the road. If you notice, the road goes around the church. So now it's Church Street. Then Dock Street Theater became Planters Hotel, where they had prostitution and obviously a hotel there. Then we turned it back into Dock Street Theater that we know now. That's why, you're going to know why this is relevant here in a minute. There was a young lady that worked at the church. Her name was Nettie Dickerson. She was past the marrying age of 17. She was 23 years old. Nobody wanted her. So she's seen all the prostitution going on down at Planters Hotel. She puts on her best red dress and she goes down and gets a job. Now, she's the best loved girl in the whole place. So she's still not happy. So she used to go out to the second story balcony and ponder about coming back to the church. So, what's that?
Works at a church, also a prostitute.
Well, the priest sees her back down there, pondering about coming back, so he goes down there to talk to her, and a storm rolls in. Lightning strikes the wrought iron banister that she's leaning on and strikes her dead. Now, stories usually end abruptly, but there's usually a reason for that. So, when you see Nettie Dickerson's ghost, it's from the knees up only. Why is that? Is because when we turned it from Planters Hotel back to Dock Street Theater, we raised that first floor ceiling. She's walking on the floor that she knows. So somebody like me had to figure that out and then write about it. They say you can also see Junius Booth there, father of John Wilkes Booth. You can see him in period dress, and he is obviously Junius Booth, like John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln in a theater, so no irony there. But that was also the same time period that Edgar Allan Poe's mother would have been a child actress traveling through Charleston. So it kind of gives you a little gist there. We are going to go check out the Powder magazine after this tour comes through, and I'll give you the history of it and why we're going to be hunting for a specific female pirate ghost. So we're going to let them come through.
Yeah.
We're going to check out one more area. Did you get anything on your box over there?
Just highway and Broad. Like Broad Street.
Okay. Tom, I'm going to show you. Just, what does it say there?
Pet?
Look behind you.
I can't see. No.
Sometimes it's about the things that we see around us.
Yeah.
But I am very, very excited about Amanda, Allie, and Nee. Like, those are relevant terms. So, we're going to let them pass through. All right, let's go ahead and get closer to the Powder magazine. You guys ready to walk a little bit? Wake up. I can't take you up there because it's
Fresh air. Bring your mask. Oh.
think I'm gonna need to have a second dinner.
I figured you'd be stopping again.
Well, no, I mean, if I get back home probably close to about an hour, then I could do it. I can let her get leave. I just don't have to wait too long.
All right, one last building to take a look at. So this is the Powder Magazine. This is the oldest government building we have in South Carolina, finished in 1713. The roof that you see is actually filled with sand from 1712. So the walls are 32 inches thick and 8 pillars around the building and 1 in the center, and they're in a groin vaulted ceiling on the inside. It is built this way on purpose because this is the exact cornerstone of our Charlestown walls. We are 3 blocks away from the water, so if it were ever to be attacked by a cannonball filled with gunpowder, the blast would be contained. Now, it has served in 7 different wars, and it has never been attacked. So, luckily for us, we put it in a good spot. Now, it is a museum now, it's pretty cheap to go through, so if you like war stuff, that's what this place is about. The story I'm about to tell you, I still don't have the full tie of why this ghost is here. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I didn't like bringing people up here, but when I had to change my tour, I was like, I really want to dive into this story a little bit more and figure out what's going on. I meet with a woman in town right after I get back from Orlando more about this story, and hopefully she has more ties, and I just got 3 books yesterday from Amazon about this story. So, Anne Bonny, she was a female pirate. Oh, actually, he likes to take this corner. We're going to move down a little bit. Interesting character. Her father married her off to a man named James. She did not want to be married to this gentleman, so she had an affair with a man named Calico Jack. Obviously, he was a pirate with that kind of name. His real name was John, by the way, so if the name John comes through. Yeah. But he goes by Calico Jack. He had a ship that she wanted to be part of, so she dressed up like a man and she joined the crew. Can't remember the exact number of how many people were there, but it wasn't many. I want to say it was like a dozen people plus her. So when she's on the ship, she finds another female doing the exact same thing that she's doing, dressed up like the man so she could be part of a pirate crew. Her name was Mary Reed. The ship gets taken. This would have been over in Jamaica, I believe, if I'm getting the story right. Everybody's tried and hung for piracy, except for the 2 ladies. They claim that they're pregnant. So of course, their hanging gets delayed, and Anne Bonny's father was a political leader in Ireland, which is where she's originally from, and she gets paroled out. She lives a long, healthy life to the age of 84, gets remarried, and has plenty of kids. There's not much detail known about the rest of her life, which is why I'm going to meet with somebody who knows more about her life. Now, Mary Reed got stuck in jail, stayed there for a year, and died a year later. I don't know if the pregnancies were real. The terms that I've gotten here so far on different various spirit boxes: save my child, daughter. What else? I've gotten the date of her trial. I've gotten the number 84. Now, we are in the 300th anniversary of her trial. That was November 28th, 1720. So, the funny, ironic thing is that is the exact date of when I started bringing people to this spot telling this story. November 28th, 2020. So I did get the number 300 that night. I did get November 28th, obviously came up because somebody said it as a radio. Somebody asked when was your trial. We got November 28th. We've got number 84, which is the alleged age that she was. So again, we are basically going to be listening. I don't have a whole lot of questions for you. If you have questions that you want to ask, we're going to kind of stay up in this vicinity until they leave, and then we're going to kind of linger back and forth for a little bit. We're going to spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes here. I am trying to gather more information to learn more about this story. Again, I don't have the full tale yet. I haven't read all 3 books that I just got, nor have I met with that woman yet. I basically got enough details to try to give you guys enough to go on with your spirit boxes and hopefully the extra devices that KRISTIN's using over there. So we're going to kind of listen in and see what we can capture. EMF, where is that? In the event you get anything, I had some around where the 2 walls meet 2 nights ago. So I'll be curious if it happens again. Again, I want to stay out of their way. And this gentleman, obviously has a lot of folks with him. Let him tell his big piratey tale and move on, and then that way we can explore a little bit further. Have you seen anything tonight on that thermal?
No, I haven't seen anything worth of
I want
note.
to get him in an acapella group just so we can hear the bass. Dude, that is a serious voice.
Yeah, I wish I could sing.
Yeah, you ought to hear the first time he called and asked us to speak to my daughter.
Yeah.
I was like, who are you and how old are you?
He was like 20.
I had to say something by the end of
Yeah.
the night.
That's all
I've been
good.
thinking all night is like, man, he's being an acapella group. So yeah, let's definitely listen to those spirit boxes. We're gonna kind of linger for a little bit and wait for them to go. That way we can turn them up a little bit louder.
Do you know if it's true that Ann Bonny's house was on the other side of the
I
Pepper
don't
magazine?
know, but that would be very interesting to know.
I think that I've heard that before. There's a house in between with the back, like on the other side of the Pepper magazine, toward the back. I think
This is the back.
Well, down there's like a little alley on the other side of the Powder magazine.
Right.
And there's like a pink house in there. I've always heard that that was her house that her father built there.
Really? See, I gotta learn stuff. Or else my job's never interesting. I get bored telling the same stuff over and over again. So, let's go ahead and turn those spirit boxes up. Let's see what we can capture.
Also, our spirit box is going at like 1,000,000 miles an hour instead of like what you had it set as.
Oh, you probably tapped the sweep rate. So let's fix that. So I usually have it set to 350. 150. So that's way too fast. Zero.
And I thought it would go crazy, like by the electrical way. Is that what happened?
I've just never had.
How many people were on your crew?
Oh, that's up. I think that thing just, oh, you know what it might have been? It might have been like,
What's up? Wendy? Wendy goes?
Where's the location of your treasure?
Give me your money.
No.
You're gonna come stab you. What? They're ready to go. How old were you when you perished? How old were you when you perished? I just got 84.
So I have 9,000 words. So go ahead and click your 1906.
I supposedly just got 84.
I mean, I paid for it.
That's a couple sheds times higher than the basic today. Man said he's stuck on the right, he's right on the left. He's stuck on his side facing the wall.
Were you propaganda? Going on. Or regante. I said 466.
Now the man said in his testimonial, I reached out, I touched his own. I had to see if this thing was real.
Hey guys. So I just want to talk over there. So.
I got 84, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah. Vibing.
I haven't caught anything on this thing.
You bored?
Huh?
You bored?
Hungry.
Shit.
Now why he disappeared at that moment, I don't know. I do believe it happened.
We got 84 for 8. Nice. So we got a flip. We got a flip, but it was over there.
You're not going to the same direction. You're getting some good trouble.
We got a blip kilometers.
What are you speaking?
It's just an old meme.
I asked it where they put the treasure at, that's all I want to know.
You got the hard job holding your hand up the whole time.
Yeah, my arm's starting to get tired.
Oh, that's a great question. Good job.
What was the pirate ship?
What pirate ship are you on?
So, like, Michigan. Did you see that?
Sorry for that.
And Bonnie, who was your boyfriend?
So, I mean, there was
And Bonnie.
What was your name?
And Bonnie, who was your boyfriend?
What is it? Away from where we're supposed to be. He said along here.
So a little further history on this building. 1703, 1713. The walls at the base are 3 feet thick.
Caroline, I asked how and then I heard Cal say 1,000. 1,000 months pregnant. Never was. I know, it was just funny.
See what your temperature is. I think I'm close enough. Yeah, you're the old 93-ish.
I'm tired. One last question. Hello, how are you today? How are you doing on this phone? How are you today, Smooth Jazz?
Where did you live at?
What year did you die? I did get 84 at one point though.
I'm hearing a lot of stuff, but I can't.
Did we go again?
Yeah, well.
It's really.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to listen to.
If you don't know the questions, how do you know what the answers relate to?
So,
You take a guess.
yeah, when I'm writing everything down, like I'll even write down that diamond's direct. If I particularly hear it and it comes through, I still want to see if it's relevant somehow to another word. So it might be direct something else or diamond something else. Again, when I see a pattern or maybe a sentence being tried to be formed out of a message, because I don't care male, female, whatever. I just keep writing whatever I hear and it comes to you guys.
Oh, look, that was
Then I look at it
easier.
reflected and go,
Which is
okay,
her
this
death
is Sage,
date.
skip the word, my child.
Her age of death, like,
You know, that makes more sense.
She's
I'm trying to
84.
figure out what brought her here, why she came here, who her boyfriend was, what ship she was on, how old was she.
That she married James, she fell in love with John, who called himself Calico Jack.
Country music.
And I don't know who the last husband was. So, but again, there was one of those like spots for murder on the first husband, Calico Jack. Tried to pay him off. Like there was a lot going on.
They were doing
in
pirate
there.
stuff.
I'm sure there was.
Pirates and pirates. That's all
I'd love to
about.
know what motivated her to become a pirate.
She was just
From what I read, it's more that she just wanted like freedom to do whatever the heck she wanted
exactly.
to do.
It wasn't anything that she was managed. It wasn't anything that she was fighting for anything. She just wanted to.
The adventure.
Right.
Yeah.
That was it.
It's just like, I'm bored. Let's go.
Yeah. Have we heard anything on the other spirit box?
No. You only got 84.
We'll take it though. We'll take it.
We walked around and looked at the front of the pink house that's right on the other side.
Right.
And she took a few pictures.
Yeah, but I couldn't get in there. You can't get in there.
Well, I do have a season pass in here, so maybe I'll come back.
There's an orb that's dancing around in front of you.
Really?
You know, he's right in front of now he's on you.
Nice.
Mm.
A little one.
Catherine, you got any readings right in here on Tom?
He's dead.
I see. Or
Beep, 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 beep.
always taking pictures of sunset. And we'll see.
I've seen some
spirits
orbs.
underneath.
There he is
Two
over there.
orbs.
Are we sure that's not on your phone though?
I'm positive.
Is it still there?
I don't know if it's you that it's following or if it just happens to be there.
It happens just like a father.
Well, whatever it likes, but like my dad.
Alright guys, at this point, let's start collecting up these devices and I will get you guys my card, that way you guys can check out the website ahead of time, and then of course I will text all of you in the morning, at least those of you that are the ones that booked and gave me your number. And what questions do we have? Comments, questions, anything you want to throw at me, I'm an open book.
Oh, have you ever gotten anything on Rainbow Road?
On what?
I don't think I've ever dove
down that
into
area.
Rainbow Road to be able to look for anything specifically. I just found out that Bill Murray has an apartment in Rainbow Road, though. How cool is that? I didn't know
My
that.
cousin went to school with one of his daughters.
I've been awful.
It's okay.
I just like the road, so I'm wondering if
Bill
they
Murray
Yep.
was
Thank you. All one video?
Oh, yeah.
You're the